Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Tuesday, December 15th, 2020. And today's topic is called Sky Play Time. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening December 10th through the 14th, 2020. And before we hop into those observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, dzień dobry, konnichiwa, dobro dnia, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry den, aloha winala, kalimera, and guten dag. And today's starter image is of a Wordplay gameboard result. As always, we do not play for any points and just try to get at the most positively or neutral charge energy-wise words that we can find, also being creative. And so here you have what we got. Now notice down here where my cursor is, this is nothing political for the U.S. This is simply, referring to the very common meanings of this word, which can range from a cup of coffee to just a regular guy or anything else. Anyway, let's get to the rest of the show. Alright, so here we go. Cloaked Objects, west at sunrise. Here's looking west at sunrise. What caught my attention were these streams of vapor or plasma or something coming from these puffs. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form a usual or typical cloud formation or, series together. I mean, look at this. These are nearly parallel. And so we're going to look at this with some enhancement. Now, if you're new to the show, welcome. I'm going to let you know what enhancement means. If you're returning, thank you so much. And also, I think I haven't said it in the past. I want to make sure I take a moment to say it now. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed, or even if you just stop in and have a look. I'm very appreciative of your being here. So if you're new, enhancement on photos going forward just means that I've edited attributes of the photos, such as color, saturation, brightness, contrast, things of that nature, because there are going to be areas of interest that we go in and look at that will require that to pull some more information out that's beyond the photosensitivity range of the normal camera phone that I use. Also, that being said, I might also put a masking block of some type just to hide, private information like somebody's license plate, things of that nature. So here, let's look at this scene now with some enhancement, and here we go. So now we see not only that these are still nearly parallel, they have a slight radiating quality to them, radiating out from a source, which looks like here. And the more we look at it, look at this burst. It looks like an energy burst or a field where this stuff is emanating from. So did this stuff just pop out interdimensionally from this, whatever this is, this energy source? Are they even coming down from the Earth itself, coming out, springing upward? I don't know. When I talk about Cloaking Craft or Cloaked Objects going forward, I'm referring also to either 3D tangible things you can touch type of craft being cloaked, but it also could be something very ethereal and interdimensional, and also things that are maybe cloaked in ways we don't quite comprehend yet. And when I talk about cloaking material going forward, it could be anything as simple as water vapor, whatever's comprising of the cloud, clouds in the sky, or also plasma or some other material. All right, let's keep going. So now I've enhanced the photo further, removing any color, because sometimes the brain and eye connection see things very differently. When we do little tricks like that, visual tricks as far as like removing color, or even mirroring an image, or even turning it upside down. So in this case, I just took the color out just to try to get at a little bit better what is going on in this scene, and maybe you see things in a new way here too. All right, now we're going to look at Crossing Trails Cloaking Craft. So this is happening to the southeast in the same scene at the same time. Look at this thing. So we've got some cloud activity, quote-unquote cloud activity, which looks weird in and of itself, but look at this crisscross of trails. I mean, that's just a clear crisscrossing. So I'm calling these, Cloaking Craft up in here. We're going to look to the right at the enhanced for a minute. This would be the area of the Cloaking Craft. Look, we even have like a little form springing off of this. So that could be a craft in and of itself, or a piece of more cloaking beyond. And then, this is just, to me, just very clear that something sprung up this way and something sprung up this way. And that's, tied into the sky playtime theme. I think these Cloaking Craft are just out having fun in the sky at a beautiful sunrise. So here we're going to look at it with a little more enhancement, and here we go. To the left, that reddish signature is coming because the sunrise is coming up to the left and had a little bit of that in there. And then this, wherever we have purple, these white points among purple, happening here and here and here and here, show me that, especially there's a straight line here with shadow to it, show me that there are other parts and pieces that are being hidden or concealed in this cloaking material. And also things like this, it's either the edge of a craft poking out, or could even be a light source that's happening beyond. But see what you think is going on. Okay, this is called Cloaking Objects. Again, at face value, look at this. You know, it just looks strange, this little grouping trailing along, especially when we have the very clear streaked pattern here. Now, keep in mind, all of these photos are happening in subtropical to tropical Florida, where there was, you know, relatively zero wind this day, and it was very humid. So, you know, the different patternings happening at the same time really don't make sense unless there's cloaking activity going on, cloaking craft, cloaking objects. So here we go with some enhancement. We just see a very clear shape. This shape almost reminds me of like a leg and a foot popping out, or even one of those tools that you use in the shaping and sculpting of clay. Then we have these little bits with vapor. They all have their distinct shapes. When we go up, we're going to look at more enhancement to just see if we can see anything more clearly. And this seems to have kind of like a truncated or arced, almost like a arced flat shape to it, you know, with two regularized lights or points on it. So to me, that's very engineered, or, you know, looks very symmetrical. So see what you think could be happening. Now, when I'm looking at things like this, you know, are they craft, you know, even back here? Or are they just like some type of sensor equipment or other tech, you know, sailing through the sky? I have no idea, but I can tell you that does not look like a natural cloud system. All right, this is called Air Elementals Plus. On the left is the original, the right is the enhanced version. I'm just going to stick with the right enhanced version for now. Now, usually when I see this kind of disturbance in the sky, I call that staccato cloud. That's just a term that came to me since staccato is a very, you know, specific wave signature notes, you know, playing in as far as a musical term. But anyway, later I just found out yesterday that there is a term called staccato lightning. I had no idea. So, but this is what I'm referring to as staccato cloud. Even if it's my own term, I'm not sure. But anyway, we've got wisps, and I do cover that air elementals or sky wisps in another show. Actually, a few other shows, so have a look there to see my thoughts on that. But anyway, whatever's going on in here, I'm not quite sure, because then we also have very grid-like streaks crisscrossing here as well, like a cross-hatching pattern. See what you think is happening in this. All right, then we're going to take a look at also at sunrise. This time we're looking east-southeast, a collection of these atmospheric disturbances. Now, when I say that, look, this has like concentric waves happening and even has an elliptical form. So when I say that, you know, the staccato pattern or waves, you know, disturbances atmospherically, I'm referring to there's got to be something generating these patterns. And it's got to be something that's like an electromagnetic wave activity of some shape or form or the other, or some other source generating these in the atmosphere. So it's just odd, this whole collection, because these are very distinct forms and shapes. You cannot explain that on the basis of just cloud moving through, you know, on any kind of stream of air. So we're going to look at this in a little more detail. There's a little up-close view on the right-hand side of that whole little installation, and we're going to look at it with more enhancement, taking out the color, and look at all this structure to these things. Very interesting, the patterning. And then we're going to look at it again, zoomed out a little bit, and we're going to look at this piece in particular. And so we go here, you know, we pull it out a little bit more just to see some of this, the patterning in here. It's just really, really weird, especially since we've got these, like, you know, individual chunks happening in a stream of what's otherwise a flat painted, you know, cloud type sky. Then we see this off to the south, and, you know, there's a pure white line, actually a few of them in parallel. So when I see pure white on the backdrop of anything gray or muddied or even a lot of color, you know, it's always my cue to take a closer look, and that's what we're going to do, especially since it seems to be trailing off a very distinct type of vapor or plasma or cloak material. And here we go with some enhancement. We see the red signature, you know, of the daybreak, and this is just holding true in white. So what is going on here? I'm not sure, but I'm throwing it out to share it with you because I think it's very interesting. And here we go, looking at with more enhancement, taking out the color. What is that thing? I don't know, but it's not cloud, I'll tell you that. All right, and here we go. Air elementals, wisps. Again, just very interesting forms. These look almost supernatural or otherworldly, you know, as they come in. But I've noticed that they often are paired with a distinct geometry. So here, if you look closely, you see a triangular form and an imprint. Oops, hang on 1 second. That is a dog barking. It's not mine. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, bear with me through any dog barking. I'm recording outside today, and this is my only chance to do it. All right, so as I was saying, there's a triangular form imprinted, and if you look at some of my other shows, you'll notice that I do talk about these kind of very wispy-like things tend to come up in pairs with something either triangular in shape, sometimes it's even a hexagon or a pentagon. It's very odd, so I'm not sure what the relationship is between the two. What role they play with each other. If this is just a fancy way of cloaking to distract your eye from the geometry, or if these are air spirits coming in to challenge something that may be more negative based with these, strict geometries. I'm not sure. See what you think, though. Here we go with, I should have actually focused more on this slide, sorry. Has more of the contrast and things so you can see. But look at all this activity. We've got movement here on the diagonal. Then we've got this kind of flat and stationary as well as these moving along in a very staccato way. What the heck is going on? Now, this, like other photos, the more you look, the more you're going to find. I don't have, time in the framework of the show to, stop at everything. So if there's something on any of these slides that you see that you want more elaboration on in the future, let me know, and I'll go ahead and put enhancement or bring it up in a future show. All right, now this is a very interesting sequence. So we're looking at where the sun should be coming up. We already have a veiling group of clouds over it. But what's really interesting is this area called A. Now pay attention to where it is. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, pay attention to where this quote-unquote object is relative to this little, tree branch cluster, because it will start to move over to the left as I talk about this. But here at first glance, it's like, okay, we've got some cloud, and who knows, that's just some rogue piece, floating by, although that isn't typical. But anyway, let's just assume it is for a moment. But here, let's take a look with some enhancement. 8.1, but then we start to see it looks like there's a hole there, and it starts to look like a cylinder. So we go to 8.2, zoomed in with more enhancement, and look, lo and behold, it's a can or cylinder, something with depth and a circle to it. It's got little vapor trailing off. And then 8.3 is without color, just to get a better look at this thing. So what is going on? Looks almost like this thing just emerged, from some type of cloud. Again, maybe some other dimension. Then we're going to look at it. Now I'm calling it AA. It's the same object, I think, moved from this position over here, or it could be that this one dissipated and disappeared and a new one popped up suddenly here. I'm not sure. The jury is out on that, but you decide what you think is happening. Either way, AA now is a different object or the same one morphed. But look up at 8.1 with more enhancement and zooming in. That's like the top of a tent. It's a perfect symmetrical geometrical form of a rhombus and this triangle here. So that is definitely intelligent design, either coming in from another dimension or it was invisible and now it's not. Then we look A8.2, it's a little bit mappy, but you still get the idea. Okay, now this one we're doing AAA because now this is another object or the same tent-like object that just is kind of migrating off to the left. And AA8.1 we're zoomed in and enhancing just to try to see what shape that is now. Then we're looking at the same sunrise coming up. Now off to the right, this is a different set of a grouping of cloaked objects or craft. We see these two things in a pair. So we're going to look at it with enhancement. B1 shows a more diamond-shaped object and a flatter one next to it. And we go up to B2, zooming in a little bit more with some more contrast. And we just definitely still see a couple of objects. It's like a little, trail of vapor, maybe on both ends or around it. And then we're going to look at it one more time. I know the photo's a little fuzzy, bear with me. But here's that cluster, of two again. And then we look at B.4, and we still see this is looking like a triangular shape now with some vapor at each end. And this is like a flattened disc. See what you think is going on there. All right, then this is another pairing, yet another pairing at the same sunrise. So these look different. They're, more elongated and in parallel with each other. And so we go up to CC. It's the same little pair, but moved over to the left a little bit in time. And you still see they're, maintaining their distance with each other, just changing shape a little bit. So what are those things? Again, is it Cloaking Craft? Are they some type of what do you want to say, sensor objects or, some type of other advanced equipment? I don't know, but again, those are not cloud bits. Okay, this is called atmospheric disturbances. On the left is the original, and we're going to look at these three areas. So we go to the right, that's with enhancement. We just see a spherical or boulder-shaped thing happening here, something more spine-like, pointed over here. I'm not sure what that's all about. Then we go to C, we get some very interesting texture, happening in here too. I'm just leaving this with more questions and answers today, but see what you think is happening. And here I'm going to zoom in on the upper two objects. Look at these, look like two holes. They look, pretty regular. I'm not sure what this thing is. Looks like it's springing up with some vapor trailing behind it, and I really don't know what's going on in here. But as always, if you have any interesting ideas, even if it's just fantastical, like fantasy, oh, I see this or this in the clouds type of thing, do let me know in the comment section below if you feel like it, just for fun. We can ponder about these things together. All right, this is called Vast Chemtrail or Other Trail Ellipse. I'm looking at A, B, and C of areas interest. Of course, there's so much more going on in this photo, though. But I did observe this as this arc. This arc was already created. I saw it as it was some plane or orb or object was forming. As it was forming this, I caught it at this point where we see B, is what I want to say, sorry. So it's moving along this way, creating the line, tracing the line. Now, this is just such a perfect curve. This is, of course, done with intent. And because this trail is still hanging around for a very long time, it shows me it's either chemtrail if it's done by a negative party, or if this is a benevolent type of party doing this for some reason, maybe to clean up the atmosphere or who knows what, then it's still some type of plasma or, something other than just condensation trail is my point. And then as I'm looking at C, it looks like some objects trying to emerge here. So let's look with some enhancement. Well, a lot of enhancement because it turned it like this, all the colors. But anyway, I did exaggerate it this much so that we can see, look at this white line holds true even though I've just, edited the attributes. And then here we see something emerging more. So we look at C.2 and here's that something. Is this overall one object or is this two pieces of something? I don't know. But it looks like maybe one with some cloaking material, coming across it, bisecting it. Very interesting. Not sure what it is. This looks like a little piece of something as well. It looks like Cloaking Craft or some other cloaking object. Now we're going to look at the same trail, chem or otherwise, a little bit later on, but still in the same position in the sky. And as you can see, it's starting to morph and change a bit. That's that A side of it. And then I start to see new bits popping up. So this is D, and this is going to be called E going forward. And here we go. So we've got that bit. It's got shadow to it. This does too. So we're going to look up at D, and here we go. That's the shape of it. And then E is a little more square-like. It looks like it has a little vapor trailing from it. So again, is this kind of like sensor tech being dropped out or popping up from somewhere? Or are they in their own way some type of cloaking craft? I'm not sure. See what you think about that. All right, now this is on the left the original, the right the enhanced version of what we're calling Dart and Fortune Cookie Clouds. So on the left, it just looked like an interesting regularized pattern happening here of what I'm just referring to as like the old-fashioned term dart. And to the right, in old-fashioned as far as like a design concept. So to the right, I've put some enhancement on it, mainly to pull out the color signature, which was very interesting, and also to highlight the shapes of these things. And we're going to look at it with enhancement yet again. So the left is just exaggerated for the color signature. Now keep in mind, this is happening toward sunset but looking north-northwest. So the red is picking up from the sunset happening off to the west side of things on the left side of the photo. Now to the right, I took all color out to look at it this way, and I reduced it in size up in the upper right to really pick up the shape that I'm calling fortune cookie, this burst of energy. And actually even see a line out in front of it, so it kind of implies that this is sitting in its own energy field of some type, and I'm not sure what's happening up here. Also, this brings to the point of, is all of this, white, the dart shape and the fortune cookie shape, just kind of smoke and mirrors to, or just a red herring to take away the fact that we've got in the void, aspect of things, two triangles, here and here? Or does this all work together somehow as one collection? I do, seeing this little point here where my cursor is, I do think this is some type of craft or something, either 3D or interdimensional, popping in and out, or something on yet another ethereal plane that we don't know about. And I'm not sure, again, what this geometry stuff is in relation to when we have something more ethereal looking. Maybe if you have any insights, do please let me know in the comment section below. All right, now this is the photo of the week and the close of the show. This is a paytelephone or payphone in the U.S. It's a very rare sight these days, at least in Miami, Florida. So I had to take a picture because usually sometimes you'll see an empty enclosure but no phone. But here the phone was intact, although it's pretty beat up with graffiti. I normally don't like graffiti just everywhere, if it's in certain areas that, work with the community fine, but not just randomly tagging things. But I do like that it says rebel. Here you see it a little bit better because, boy, do we need that spirit these days to rebel a little bit and stand up for our own basic freedoms as you see what's going on in the world. But anyway, I've decided to label and tag it for any of the younger generation who may have not seen any of these. This has a push button keypad, a touch tone. In the old days, it was even rotary phone dial up, and there was a nice, box enclosure. You may have seen those to actually stay dry while you're making the call in the rain. But anyway, here this is heavily fortified with these anti-theft locks and whatnot. But anyway, I just thought it'd be interesting, and for posterity, maybe important. Important to have something like this on record. But anyway, I want to say thanks for paying attention here a while. I wish you a gorgeous rest of the week. More importantly, just a beautiful and perfect now. And that's it for now. So tremendous peace and inner peace to you all. Have a beautiful day. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.